At the Yellow Rose Showcase. Again, my name is Joshua Shibata. Thank you very much for joining us here. I'll be here all day on pitch 2 for pool play action. Again, we are just seconds away from Texas A&M in the black, taking on the Indiana Hoosiers in the white. Here you go, Indiana Hoosiers with the take. Big run taken down by the Aggies. Deep pass by the Hoosiers. Hoosiers are trying to make their way into A&M territory. A&M with the very strong defense. Hoosiers cycling the ball back, making their way on the right side of the pitch. Good dummy by the Hoosier. Unfortunately, did not trick the Aggies. They were able to take them down. Ball cycled back. Good play. Ooh, dangerous pass there. Almost taken it down by the Aggies. Ball unfortunately does not go to hand there. Hoosiers are trying to scramble back. Aggies are pushing them into territory. Will the Hoosiers find the opening here? It looks like they might. There's not a lot of speed on that Hoosier player. Good fend, but he finds the support. No, ball goes out of hand, just out of the fingertips of that Hoosier player. Scrum to Texas A&M. Good passage of play by the Hoosiers. Almost found the opening. Unfortunately, there was the knock on. So we have a scrum. Again, if you're new to rugby, anytime the ball goes forward, falls out of hand like a fumble in football, play has to stop. We restart with what's called a scrum. It's almost like a hockey face-off. Even though there is a penalty committed by a team, where every time we do a restart, we try to give both teams equal opportunity to get the ball. That's why we do a scrum. Both teams have the opportunity to get the ball from the restart. But the team that did not commit the penalty is the one that gets to feed the ball into the scrum, so that's their advantage. And so Texas A&M gets the advantage of putting the ball in because of the Hoosiers penalty. And here we go. Texas A&M with the scrum. Texas A&M on the offense. Hoosiers trying to stop Texas A&M from going forward, and unfortunately there was a penalty against Texas A&M, so Hoosiers are able to take the ball. And it looks like they are calling for a scrum. Anytime there's a penalty, any kind of knock on, we have a scrum. If another penalty is committed, you have a choice as the team that does not commit the penalty to either restart with a scrum or you play the ball right there at that point of the field. The reason why we usually do scrums is because it opens up your backfield. As you notice, you have 4 players that are committed to the scrum on each side. So that leaves your other 3 players of your team out in the open. So it creates some really big one-on-one matchups, which again, if you know your wingers, your backs are really, really strong, you might want to take advantage of those matchups because it's literally one-on-one. Very similar to a wideout against a cornerback in football. If you know your wideout is stronger than their cornerback, you want that one-on-one opening. And so that's why some teams choose to go for scrums because they have some powerful offensive weapons. So ball is out of the pitch, but there was a knock on before that. So again, we have another scrum. Texas A&M with the feed once again. And here you go. Oh, unfortunately, Indiana able to turn the ball over in the scrum. Indiana on the attack. Oh, that Texas A&M player fell over. And that leads the opening. That crucial mistake leads to the first try of the matchup. Indiana on the board. The Hoosiers draw first blood with the first try. And just unfortunate that that Texas A&M player just happened to trip up. Sometimes those field monsters are out there. He tripped up on something, and that opening allowed the Indiana player to just walk right in. And now we're waiting for the conversion, and it's good. Opening score, Indiana 7, the Aggies 0. We'll see what the response is by the Aggies here. Now, Indiana might have scored, but they're the ones that kick the ball off. So the Aggies are the ones that get the ball back. And here you go, Indiana with the restart. Good kick for the restart. Aggies, unfortunately, not able to play it. Indiana capitalizes on another mistake. And Indiana scores once again. Two quick tries in concession off of two bad mishandlings or mistakes by the Aggies. This time by a ball mishandling. Rugby sevens very crucial. Mistakes will cost you, especially when you have two great teams like the Texas A&M and Indiana. The only difference between them is just the team that makes less mistakes. Conversion is good. Indiana up 14, Texas A&M 0. After this match, we will have action in Pool B of our Premier Division. We'll see the other Texas A&M team taking on the United Health Sciences and Pharmacy team. And here we go, Indiana again with the restart. Big kick. Indiana's really big on kicking the ball deep. Texas A&M almost mishandles that ball. They're able to recover though. But Indiana right there with the defense. Aggies trying to hold up as much as possible. It's got to cycle that ball back. Oh, unfortunately, Indiana able to bully Texas A&M, get the turnover, and the dummy. The Aggies bit, and Indiana showing their class with another try. Wow, that play really showed how you can capitalize on just some inopportune mistakes by the Aggies. First of all, Indiana able to counter kind of a lazy scrum, and then the dummy by that Indiana Hoosiers player just got that Aggies defensive player to bite, and so he was out of position to stop Indiana from scoring. Conversion is good once again. So already after a kind of a slow start, Indiana firing off three consecutive tries. Texas A&M's got to figure out something to do as we're in the closing seconds of the first half. Texas A&M can score, at least go back into the sheds with some momentum. But right now, it is all Indiana. Indiana, first time their kick, kind of not so far off. Indiana tried to play it, but they lost it. Now Texas A&M on the march. No support for that Aggies player. He was looking for all of his teammates, but he was well ahead of them. The Aggies now on the march, moving into Indiana territory for the first time this half, trying to find some openings. Indiana's defense has to come into play. The Aggies are aggressive here. But it looks like Indiana able to turn the ball over on the ground. Oh, another turnover leads to another try by Indiana. Wow, try time. Indiana, four tries here in the first half, all of them off of turnovers and mistakes. The Aggies really having to show that they cannot make any kind of mistakes against Indiana. Indiana is showing a lot of class here in this Premier Division matchup. And an easy conversion. And that will be the half, I believe. Yes. We're going into halftime. Indiana up 28-0. We'll be back in just a couple moments with the second half here on Pitch 2. All right, we are back here with the second half of this exciting matchup between Indiana and Texas A&M. Indiana pretty much dominant right now, 28-0. A lot of those all those tries to be honest, off of mistakes by the Aggies. Here you go, Indiana in white with the restart. Texas A&M gray side with in the black. And again, another misplay of the ball, and Indiana able to capitalize with another try right off the bat. And yeah, Texas A&M just making a lot of mistakes. Now, granted, this is the gray side for Texas A&M. Texas A&M sporting two teams here in our Premier Division. I don't want to say anything about one side being better than the other, but the gray side may not have the best of the Texas A&M players, and the conversion is good. So that might be what is happening here on the scoreboard. But right now, Indiana 35-0, five unanswered tries. Texas A&M have not been able to get out of the gates. And a lot of those tries, like I said, start coming off of miscues and turnovers. It seems like anytime that Texas A&M makes any kind of mistake, Indiana is all over them. They are making Texas A&M pay for not playing up to standards. Texas A&M finally with a good secure of the ball on the restart. And now what can they do with it? Good pass. They got to get past this Indiana defense. They got to not turn over the ball either. Oh, miscue there. Oh no. And another try score by Indiana. Wow. Again, another miscue, a wayward pass, and Indiana just capitalizes on it. Another try by Indiana. And waiting on the conversion. And the conversion is good. And once again, Texas A&M, that missed pass. Indiana all over it. Rugby sevens can be a very cruel sport. If you make too many mistakes, a team will make you pay, especially a team of the caliber of Indiana. And they are really trying to make their mark here in our Premier Pool A division. Again, the top two teams of each pool will move on to our knockouts. So right now, Indiana looking really, really good here in Pool A. Restart here. Unfortunately, not able to play. The ball goes out into pitch. So the ball will be a line out to Texas A&M. So again, if you're new to rugby, whenever the ball goes out in the pitch, we have to restart the ball by throwing the ball back in a line out. Oh, never mind. The ball, I believe, might have been kicked directly out into touch, so we will have a restart at the 50-meter. Well, looks like the ball might have come off of a Indiana player's hand. So it looks like there was a knock on before the ball went out into the touch. So we have a scrum, and Indiana with Texas A&M with the put in. Unfortunately, Indiana pushing a little early on the scrum. The scrum, as I've always said, is like the dark arts of rugby. It's a very particular skill set to be able to do a good scrum. There's a lot of things that you have to do correctly. Some of them, most rugby players do not know how to do that. And there is the turnover once again by Indiana. Indiana taking advantage of the weak scrum of Texas A&M, and they will score again. Wow, big score once again by Indiana. That is the seventh try by the Hoosiers. And the kick is good. And a lot of these tries have been right under the uprights, so that makes the conversions very easy for the Hoosiers. Oh, quick cheeky play by Hoosiers. They're trying to do a dribble kick to try to recover the ball. There is a penalty, though, against Texas A&M, I believe they played the player when he did not have the ball. Unlike in football, you can't make any contact with any player without the ball. You can't just tackle anybody that you want to. You can't push a player off the ball. You can't prevent a player from assisting another player. You can only tackle the player that has the ball. I believe that's what the penalty was for. Indiana is kicking the ball into touch to move closer to Texas A&M territory. So as I was mentioning before, whenever the ball is kicked out into touch, the ball has to be thrown back in through what's called a line out. Very simple, very similar to a face-off in a basketball match when you're throwing the ball up in the face-off. Again, anytime we restart, even though there is a penalty, both teams should have equal opportunity to get the ball. So Indiana is tossing the ball back in because they're not the ones that caused the penalty. But both teams have the opportunity to get the ball in the restart just to make the game fair. And I believe we are waiting for the restart to happen. I apologize. Sometimes when we have the camera set up, we can't always account for teams that are setting up their tents. So we do have a little obscurity of view. But it looks like maybe a try was scored again. I think it was. I think another try might have been scored. We'll see if we have a conversion kick. I believe we will because I think the referee is getting ready for one. Yeah, there must have been a try that was scored on that. Unfortunately, I can't tell if the conversion was good or not. So right now, score is Indiana 54, Texas A&M 0. So again, Indiana just showing their class in this matchup as we are pretty much in the waning seconds of the match. And here we go with the restart. A short kick recovered by Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they're not going to win this game, but if they can at least get one try, make the score respectable. That's what they're shooting for right now. Give them a little bit of confidence going into their next matchup. Unfortunately, that ball went forward, and I think that is the game. Nope, we're going to have one last scrum. And the scrum is going to go to Indiana. Will Indiana be able to score one more try? We've already seen a few lopsided scores here on pitch 2. Will Indiana add to the tally? And nope, Indiana decides we've had enough of this match. We are going to the sheds. Win is secured. Indiana with the win, 54 over Texas A&M Gray 0.